What's up guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Remakes speculation video covering possible Mega Evolutions for Generation 4. So just going over some Gen 4 Pokemon, looking and thinking about the basis for a Mega, the typing for a Mega, stats, etc. So let's just jump in with the first Pokemon today, which is going to be Hippowdon. Now I don't have any images from Mega Hippowdon because I didn't see any designs I particularly liked, so we're just going to talk about it similar to Purugly from last episode. So Hippowdon. It's a bulky Pokemon, it's a slow Pokemon, and we would expect that to be sort of mirrored in the Mega Evolution just to get a bit bulkier, slower, or the same speed, similar to Slowbro for example. But you could, I suppose, make it a bit faster if you slimmed it up a bit. You can make it, hippos, which is obviously what it's based on, are actually really dangerous creatures, so you can get a really high attack stat, maybe boost its speed slightly, lower its defense, so that sort of thing there, and it could, be sort of themed around that. Of course, the most likely one is just to bulk it up, really. So that's what I expect. In terms of design and typing, I could see a few different options here. Ground is its main type, pure ground. I feel like ground rock is, not ground rock, ground fire is a pretty good possibility. I don't know why. I feel like you could just change those, holes that pour out sand on its back into holes that pour out, fiery sand, sort of thing. This is my opinion, of course. But ground and rock is, I guess, another possibility as well. It's a very common typing, so not as likely because they don't want to reuse it as much anymore, lately at least. But it's still a possibility, I suppose. Apart from that, I can't really see too many extra typings you could give it. Ground steel, if you gave it like a hard shell on its back, which would work as a bulky typing. But it's only very few possibilities here. In terms of stats, bulk, so defense probably, a little bit lower speed, maybe the same speed sort of thing, maybe a small boost in attack as well, depends on what the design goes. But then moving on to ability, Sandstream is one of its normal abilities. I feel like, yes, you could carry that across to Mega Hippowdon, but of course if you take it away, that means you can come over normal Hippowdon, Sandstream up, then Mega to get best of both worlds, whereas obviously if you kept Sandstream, then yes, okay, you could set it up later on in the battle, but it wouldn't have any effect off the bat. So they could say, we're going to take Sandstream away, so you're only going to have Sandstorm once, but we'll give you like Sand Force, or I can't remember the ability off the top of my head, but something that boosts your attack, or maybe even your defense is a different ability in a Sandstorm. So obviously you go in, you have your Sandstorm, and for like 4 turns to have last for, you get those boosts, and that sort of it's a jumping start for Mega Hippowdon. Of course, when you come in later on the battle, unless you've got another Sandstorm on your team, you won't have those effects, but it'll be like you send it out, you do lots of damage, you make the most of it all at once, and then you put it away later on. So that's the sort of thing. And of course, that Sandstorm, depending on whether it gets extra moves or something that will depend on the moves it gets by default. Say it gets Iron Defense, or it could possibly get Iron Defense in the future. You could then use those couple Sandstorm turns to set up some more Iron Defenses, which means once the Sandstorm drops and you lose those defense boosts, you have them anyway, so that's pretty good there. But let's make a Hippowdon. We, as I said, no designs, so really nothing to show you and go off of there. But if we move on to Drapion, which we do have 2 designs for her, you can see the top left one is more of a bulky design, whereas the bottom left one is more of just a general offensive design. So obviously Drapion normally is your Poison Dark type. Now I'm not a huge fan of that typing because obviously we had Scorpy, which is Poison Bug, and it's Poison Bug, brilliant, it works pretty well I suppose in terms of thematics, but it just gets the Dark type randomly when it evolves into Drapion. So one possible typing for a Mega Drapion is to flip it back, so it goes Poison Bug again, so it gets some nice boosts on powerful bug type moves and such. Yes, okay, it loses to Savon Dark, but I feel like the bug is a bit more useful in this setting, my opinion though. Or I feel like that typing would work if you're going for the bottom right, where you had the standard, make him a tiny bit bulkier, but focus most of it in offense. If you're gonna go bulky though, I feel like staying Poison Dark is the better choice because I feel like that's a better defensive typing. I might be wrong, I don't have the stats, but it's possible. So I feel like just a bulky one would stay Poison Dark, and it would be able to tank up some shots, not really be focused on damage in this case. So you didn't need to have bug. There's a bug typing to hit some Fell Stingers and whatnot. So I feel like Poison Dark or Poison Bug, either one works. In terms of other typing, Poison Steel I guess is one possibility. Thanks to its claws you could steal them up, but I feel like generally that's either Poison Dark or Poison Bug would be the 2 choices there. In terms of ability and stats. Of course, we have bulk on the left and we have defense on the right. So bulk, I would say defense boosts mostly. It's got armor, so defense makes a lot of sense there. Special defense, not so much, maybe a small boost there, but mostly physical defense. You could give it a small attack boost as well. Speed drop, maybe to put even more in defense. It depends how much they change the design. Obviously, you see here, really all Mega Drapion has done in the top left design is shrink back down into its body. So who knows if there's a huge speed drop there. It's a possibility. In terms of if you flip to offensive, of course, physical attack would be the main boost. You could also give it some boost in special attack, some boost in speed as well. Maybe if you lighten up a bit, who knows. And then small boosts in defense and special defense as well. Nothing near the bulk one, but still some small boosts. In terms of ability, I can't remember what it gets off the bat, but a sniper, I think, is one of its default abilities, which it could carry across just for the extra effect every now and again. Or you could get something like, normal type moves into bug type moves, or something like that, bugger's eyes, I don't know what you call it, but you guys get the idea there. Something to power up a stab, which is fairly standard, or just something, maybe sort of like sniper, but more, critical hits hit more often, whereas sniper obviously just increases the power of them. So you can mix it up like that and sort of fits the sort of style of Drapion, which is it's got razor sharp teeth and razor sharp claws. If it hits you, it's going to hit you hard, sort of thing. So that's sort of if you go for bulky though, you could give it like rock armor or shell armor to really give the full bulk route. But in that case, you might want to then not give it quite as much physical defense and put some more in attack, because it still has, for example, that huge tail. So even if it's bulky and can't necessarily swing its arms around, it has a nice big tail, or if you bulk the tail a bit more, it could be used in that sense, which could give it an advantage there. But that's Mega Drapion. So if you move on to another poison type, here we have Mega Toxicroak, of course, poison fighting. Straight off the bat, in terms of typing, poison fighting is a pretty standard typing, not standard, but pretty, solid typing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it carried it across. But I think, like, especially the top left design here, you could go poison dark with it because of this, hooded appearance, more like a ninja. And you can definitely make it fit there. Whether or not they want to lose the fighting type, or you want to lose the fighting type, probably not in general. But one thing I could see is the ability similar to Steelworker for Delmise, where you get boosts so you get extra stab basically for dark damage, for example. So you're poison fighting, but you also get the dark boost, dark stab, which would be pretty helpful for it, because of course Sucker Punch and similar moves it can make pretty good use of. In terms of the bottom right typing, of course, probably poison fighting staying there. It does look a bit of a weird typing, a weird design in the bottom right, because it's sort of like taller and its claws have like gotten longer. But I could still see it being poison fighting. It does make some sense, but poison dark or a similar dark stab for the ability might work quite well. If you weren't going to go for that for the ability, I feel like something based around poison would be pretty good. Obviously it's a poison type, so you could say, obviously it's poison touch, but you could give it an advanced version of poison touch, for example, so 50% chance or something like that, or any move can poison the opponent, similar to poison touch of course, but you could have all moves have a added chance of 40% chance to poison, for example, something like that. Of course, my opinions, my thoughts, of course, as always, guys, let me know any ideas you have down below in the comment section. That's what it's all about. But yeah, so in terms of stat boost, there we are, not attack or stab, sort of a mix of them. Stat boosts, probably just defense, speed and attack is pretty standard here. You don't really want to be boosting the defense on this thing, because how would it help you? The design wouldn't fit it, it would just make no sense at all. So big attack boost, pretty good speed boost, a reasonable special attack boost, maybe small defense boosts, nothing huge though, you can even keep it the same, depends on exactly how much the design changes. But then if we move on to the fourth Pokemon for today, we have, going away from the poison, and move on to the grass. We have Carnivine. So of course Carnivine is the forgotten Pokemon, apart from maybe its stint in the anime with James, generally forgotten about. It could probably do with an evolution normally, but a Mega Evolution could achieve a similar effect. So looking at the two designs how we have here, the top left one of course similar to a Scarecrow, you can see, whereas the bottom right one is more of a crazy plant, so like a frenzy plant. So Scarecrow at the top left, you can see it's sort of a Scarecrow hat, you've got its arms out to the side like a Scarecrow, and two dangling vines like a Scarecrow, whereas the frenzy plant one is literally just like a plant. It's got its head is sort of opened up and it's got vines and whatnot coming out of it, which could be pretty cool. In terms of typing for these two designs, probably just pure grass. I can't really see these typings, Carnivine in general changing unless it has a big design overhaul. I can't see, Poison would be obviously the first thing most people would think of. I'll make it a poisonous plant. Yeah, we've seen that loads of times though, so I'd rather just keep it pure grass. I can't see any other typings that would make sense tacking it on, really, unless it turned into a proper scarecrow as it's grass ghost, but we have a few grass ghosts recently, so maybe not. But just a few ideas out there, so probably pure grass in my opinion. In terms of abilities, normal Carnivine is not really, well, it's not known for anything really, but not really known for its abilities. But of course that ability is Levitate, so I'm guessing it would carry across, unless of course if you went to Scarecrow for example, on the left hand side one, of course you probably want to take Levitate away and give it something better. What that would be is up to you. Effect Spore probably doesn't fit it quite enough. Of course if you were going to go to a Scarecrow, you can get stab on ghost type moves for example, for having have the type as well. Something similar to that, grass moves also hit for ghost, turn moves similar to Horlucha's move, Flying Press, which should deal fighting and flying damage. You could have the ability that turns all your grass type moves to also deal ghost damage alongside the grass damage, which would be interesting. We haven't seen too much of that, but in terms of the bottom right design probably stays keeping Levitate if it's just like a spinning plant flying around on its vines. In terms of stats, obviously Carnivine, not the most powerful Pokemon to begin with. Its highest base stats attack, so you probably build up on that physical attack. But its special attack is pretty good, about 90, so you could say, boost them both up, make it really offensive, mega cool. Or you could say, well, we're going to actually reduce the special attack because if we're going all out offensive, and then you can give even more to attack and maybe in some defenses to support that. Speed is only 46 for normal Carnivine, so you might want to bring that up if you're going for the Frenzy plant, or if you're going for Scarecrow, probably keep it the same. There's no point in changing that, but in that case, you want to bulk up its defenses so it can actually survive some hits. If we then move on from Carnivine to the last Pokemon for today, which is going to be Lumineon. So Mega Lumineon, I feel it would be pretty interesting. I don't feel it doesn't really qualify for another evolution or final evolution. I feel like Mega works pretty well. So you see two designs here. The first design on the top left is basically normal Lumineon with with its bottom wings growing a bit longer, so it looks like a star. Obviously, a few other changes there. I'm generalizing, but the bottom right one there is normal Lumineon, except it's much longer. And it has these big long fins on the side. I like both designs, they're both pretty sick. In terms of typing for both of them, one thing I do want to see for Lumineon is a Water Fairy typing. I feel like that worked really well because it's fairly fairy-like in its appearance anyway, in its design anyway. It's got pink eyes, it's got pink spot on its tail. You could build on that. It's got light blue as well, which can sort of fit the fairy style too. So just build on that a bit, expand out. Give it some nice flowing wings, fairy wings, and Water Fairy would work pretty well in my opinion for a typing. That's almost that's all I want to see. Because if you weren't going to go Water Fairy or a fairy typing, pure water is really your only other option. Maybe Psychic, but then again, why not use Fairy? Because they're pretty much very similar, but better fits Fairy. Just my opinion though. In terms of stats, probably special attack boosts, maybe speed boosts depending on the design. Both these designs here add a bit more to it, so you can see bigger wings. I'm going to call them wings, but obviously they're fins. Bigger fins and whatnot, which means, okay, maybe it can, swim faster, but then again, more body size, body weight, etc. Maybe it doesn't swim, maybe that cancels out. You could give it a speed boost, you can get a special attack boost, probably a special defense boost as well. Those big wings, big fins I should say, do help protect it, I suppose, from attacks from the side. Physical defense, probably not really a huge boost on physical attack, so probably just speed, special attack and special defense for Lumineon there. In terms of ability, Swift Swim could be a very good one there. You could get Pixelate, because I'm not sure how many good fairy type moves it gets to begin with, so Pixelate might help there, boosting up any normal type moves it might get, one possibility. Or you could get something else for the fairy type like Q Charm, probably not going to be that useful, but could work quite well. But that is going to be it for Lumineon, so of course that's it for the last Pokemon for today, guys. As always, don't forget to let me know what you think about the 5 Pokemon covered in today's episode. What typing, what size, what shape, etc. Let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.